Before we go, a reminder of our headlines once again. President Jammeh has been urging the men and women in khaki to cultivate and adopt acceptable work ethics and morals in the force. The president made these remarks during voluntary walks by men and women in uniform at his farms in Kanilai. The former vice president of the Gambia during the First Republic, Hassan Musa Kamara, has died at age 90. The diplomatic haggling over Syria is continuing as world powers express support for a U.S.-Russia deal that says to disarm the war-ravaged country of its chemical weapons. And forecasters are warning of more rains in the U.S. state of Colorado after floods and mudslides killed 4 people, with hundreds still missing. That brings us to the end of this edition of the news. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned and enjoy our range of interesting programs.
Doesn't matter where you come from, doesn't matter what you've been through. You can make it if you believe. You've got the potentials living in you. You've got the power to succeed. You've got the power to achieve. You've got the power if you believe. Success power.
Welcome to Success Power. Dear viewer, I sincerely believe that today will mark a new beginning for you. I believe that the cycle of failure is broken for you. It's a cycle of success now. If you ever failed anywhere, the days of failure are over. The days of success and of succeeding are here. I believe that the days of sadness are over, the days of joy are here. I want to believe that our time together today will mark the beginning of a new season, a good season, a favorable season in your life. Let me remind you that this broadcast, Success Power, is designed to let you know that God wants you to succeed. We believe that there is one goal that each of us did not set for ourselves, and it's the goal to exist as human beings. We believe that God never planned for anyone to end up a mediocre or a failure. God never made a failure. You are destined to succeed. You must never accept failure as your destiny. Never accept mediocrity as your fate. We believe that you have the capacity, the potentials to succeed, to be the best you that you could ever be. Here on Success Power also, we make available to you the time-proven laws of success. These laws are universal facts. They work anywhere on planet Earth. They work for anyone who will satisfy their conditions. They have no respect for persons. They make success predictable. And on Success Power, we help you discover the tremendous potentials the Creator has graciously invested in your life. You are loaded with gifts and talents. You are loaded with abilities you have not explored. Someone said that the wealthiest place in the world is the cemetery, because that's where you will find songs that could have changed the world that were never sung, books that could have changed our world that were never written. So many things people could do that they never did out of fear or out of a low self-esteem, okay, or for whatever reason. Some, their limitations were imposed on them. But on Success Power, we want to help you find those potentials in you, the capacity for you to do things you never did before, capacity for you to have what you've never had before. And then on Success Power, we want to ensure that you are free from every form of failure. And we want you to have the right attitude to failure and to be able to turn your failure into fertilizer that will help the seed of your new dreams to grow and to become your reality. Thank you for joining us on our broadcast today. Now, there you are. I have in my hand a £5 note. It's a UK currency. There's something written on it which I want to read out to you. The day I read it, I was surprised, but it was a learning experience for me. It says, Bank of England, I promise to pay the bearer on demand the sum of £5, and it is signed by the governor and comptroller of the Bank of England. That's right. You know what got me a bit mixed up? I promised to pay the bearer on demand the sum of £5. I thought to myself, no, you don't need to pay me £5. I have the £5 already. And it took me a while of research before I got to understand the scenario. You know, I consider this a very, very honest currency because it describes really the way money works. What this statement is suggesting is that these are not the £5. That it's when you present this that you will be given the £5. I have come to realize over time that real money is not this paper. Rich people know that. Many poor people don't. The real money is not the paper. Let me take it back to how money evolved. There was a time when people traded without money. Money has not always been in existence. People did trade by barter. See, you brought something to the market. I brought something to the market. We exchanged them depending on their relative values. So you went home with what I brought. I went home with what you brought. That was how they traded. And it was fine. Some other times it was an exchange between a product and a service. Somebody helped you to build your house. You gave him sacks of potatoes, okay? Or a lot of tomatoes, or vegetables, whatever he needed. Maybe he was a carpenter, or he was a mason, or whatever. This is how trade began. But with time, it became really clumsy. It became, difficult to transact business. Everything you wanted to buy, you carried sacks of potatoes to buy them. So it became cumbersome, really, to transact business this way. Can you imagine the way our world works now if you wanted to pay for many of the services you enjoy and the products that you enjoy with potatoes? Let's assume you rent a house. So you want to pay your rent at the end of the month. You carry loads of potatoes to pay your landlord. Okay? You want to pay your children's school fees. You take sacks of potatoes to the children's schools. You want to take a taxi. Then you take sacks of potatoes to give the